At some point in your career, especially if people look to you for direction, the question I'm about to ask you becomes unavoidable. Are you leading or just managing really well? It's easy to confuse the two, especially when things are running smoothly. Hi, I'm Dr. Fofo, and I've spent over 2 decades in the ever-evolving FMCG sector, working with the giants like Procter & Gamble and Woolworths across regions like Sub-Saharan Africa, Middle East, Europe, India, and now Australia and New Zealand. And time again, it comes back to this one critical distinction. Management moves work forward, leadership moves people. And if you don't know the difference, you can't grow the one that you need. So give me 10 minutes and I'll help you on how to immediately identify whether you're managing or leading, why this difference is so important, and how to move from management to true leadership. And then I'll give you a simple tool you can apply today to make that shift. Ready to dive in? Let's get clear from the start. Management and leadership aren't opposites. Think of them as two muscles, both important, both necessary, but each serving a different purpose. As a manager, your focus is on the what and the how. You're ensuring tasks get done, procedures are followed, and performance is tracked. You're about structure, control, and immediate outcomes. But as a leader, your focus shifts to the why and the where next. You're inspiring action, you're navigating ambiguity, and you're creating purpose. You build trust and momentum, not through your position, but through influence, empathy, and credibility. Imagine this scenario. A team member misses a deadline. A manager asks, "Why didn't you finish this on time?" While a leader asks, "What obstacles came up and how can we solve this together?" Feel the difference? Now, being a manager isn't a lesser role. The best managers create structure, consistency, and operational calm, and that's foundational for any team. But here's where the danger creeps in. If you're in a leadership position and you're only managing, you're not delivering on the full promise of your role. What I see again and again when coaching senior professionals is this. They've nailed execution. They know how to run meetings, hit deadlines, and manage performance. But when the environment shifts, when disruption hits or strategy needs a buy-in, they freeze because they've developed control but not connection. They know how to move tasks but not move hearts. But most effective leaders blend both. They know when to lean on structure and when to lean into vision. This is the sweet spot, the space where execution meets inspiration. And here's why it matters. Authority might compel action, but only influence drives change. You can't lead effectively if you don't understand how to manage. And you can't manage people well if you never inspire them. Authority gives you the platform. Influence gives you the permission. The real skill is knowing when to lean into each. During times of disruption, your team might need structure first, calm, grounded management to steady the ship. But to move forward with buy-in and momentum, they'll need vision. They'll need leadership. This is the dance of real leadership, blending execution and empathy, toggling between systems and soul. The point isn't to box yourself in. It's to recognize when you're leaning too heavily in one direction and missing the impact that the other could bring. Most people default to their comfort zone. If you've always succeeded through planning and control, you may over-rely on those skills even when the moment calls for vision, empathy, or vulnerability. Why does this matter? Because when you know your default mode, you can start to stretch. Leaders who understand the mechanics of management gain execution power. And managers who grow into leaders gain followership, loyalty, and cultural influence. So let's get diagnostic. Ask yourself, do you explain the what and the how, or do you also explain the why? Do your team members feel safe to challenge ideas? Are you developing your people or just evaluating them? Can you rally people who don't report to you? When things go wrong, do you seek control or create clarity? If you leaned more towards control, execution, and process, you're likely operating more as a manager. If you leaned towards empathy, vision, and empowerment, you're stepping into leadership. Both are needed, But here's the catch. If you're in a leadership position but only showing up as a manager, you're not leading. Now, before we go further, let me address two questions I hear all the time. Number one, so is it bad to be a manager? Absolutely not. Great managers are the backbone of strong organizations. They create clarity, consistency, and calm in complexity. In fact, some of the best leaders I've worked with started as highly disciplined managers. Leadership isn't better, it's just broader. The goal isn't to abandon management, it's to expand beyond it. Second, what if I'm not in a leadership position? Leadership has nothing to do with your title. It's about how you show up. Influence doesn't wait for permission. Whether you're managing a team, contributing to one, or leading from the middle, you can practice leadership through how you communicate, support others, and hold perspective under pressure. I remember one moment vividly. I was coaching an executive team through a major restructuring. Morale was low. There was tension, fear, resistance. People were operating in survival mode, and understandably so. The manager in me wanted to focus on timelines, tasks, metrics, get everything moving on schedule. But the leader in me recognized something deeper, the emotional current beneath the surface. So instead of pushing forward, I paused the rollout and I called for a meeting. I asked 3 questions. How are you really feeling about this change? What support do you need to move forward with clarity? And what are we not talking about that we need to bring into the light? That moment didn't just build trust. It surfaced insights that changed the entire implementation plan. More importantly, it reminded everyone that they were seen. And this is the bridge back to our earlier point. If you don't know when to manage and when to lead, you risk either burning out your people or stagnating your strategy. Management would have kept the wheels turning. Leadership changed the direction and the energy with which we moved. But let me be clear, management still played a crucial role. Once we'd established clarity, trust, and emotional alignment, the next phase absolutely required structure. Without the initial leadership moment, those management tools would have been resented or resisted. But without then applying solid management discipline, the vision wouldn't have been realized. That's the pattern I see in high-performing teams again and again. Lead to unlock momentum and manage to sustain it. The takeaway is this: identifying where you sit on the spectrum isn't about choosing one over the other. It's about knowing which muscle you've been overusing and which one needs strengthening. If you want to grow as a leader, here's where to start. Self-audit. Revisit these 5 diagnostic questions I asked earlier, but go deeper. What patterns do you notice? When do you default to control? And when do you hesitate to inspire? Feedback. Ask your team for specific examples. When did they feel led and when did they feel managed? What do they need more from you? Practice influence by starting small. Can you drive change in a meeting without referring to your role or authority? Influence is built in micro moments, not declarations. Develop others. Choose one team member this week and focus on their long-term growth, not just their short-term output. Ask, what would leadership look like if your goal was to leave them stronger than you found them? The goal isn't perfection, it's pattern breaking. Awareness is your entry point and intention is your leverage. The truth is, you don't have to choose between being a great manager and a great leader. But if you're in a leadership position, the world doesn't just need you to manage well, it needs you to lead. And if you know you're ready to go deeper, to strengthen both your leadership presence and strategic edge, this is the work I do every day with executives everywhere. I have left a link in the description box below if you're interested in booking a free discovery call. You can also download some helpful resources in the link below. Until I see you in the next video, be unstoppable.